Oshkosh Media is government programming on GovTV, community programming on Life TV, and community radio on Oshkosh FM 101.9.
Welcome to the City Manager's Report, a look at city updates and a preview of the next Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda.
Thanks for joining us for another edition of the City Manager's Report. I'm Andy Radig, and in a moment we'll be joined by Assistant City Manager John Fitzpatrick. As usual, in the first half of today's show, we'll have some municipal news updates, including items from city departments and things happening in Oshkosh. In the second half, we'll highlight items from the upcoming Tuesday, June 14th, Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda. And with that, we bring in Assistant City Manager John Fitzpatrick. John, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me, Andy.
All right. Well, there's a lot to go through today, so let's just dive right into it.
All right.
We've got sort of a exciting item to start with. Our city manager, Mark Roloff, has been honored with a prestigious award. If you can tell us more about that.
Right. As a matter of fact, City Manager Roloff is being recognized by his peers from the Wisconsin City County Management Association for meritorious service. And it's really something that's well-deserved. It looks like we have a graphic up there that just talks a little bit about this award. And in regard to the award, if a person qualifies in any one of those four areas, they're eligible to be considered for this award. But I think City Manager Roloff, checks all the boxes here and literally and figuratively.
He's well-deserving.
Well-deserving. I've been fortunate to have a lot of great bosses, and City Manager Roloff is no exception. And the fact that he's being recognized by his peers for this award is something that's really special. And I know I speak for the staff, and hopefully the community, by saying that this is something that's well deserved, and we're very proud and very lucky to have him as our leader.
And I know that Mark has over 38 years of public service and mentorship, so that's significant.
He's just someone, I think, and you know this, Andy, because you work pretty closely with him too. He's somebody that is always, trying to lift people up, trying to support others, whether it be staff or citizens or elected officials. So he really understands what it takes to run a community and be part of a successful team. And he's just an excellent role model for all of us. And I'm very grateful to have him as a boss. And I think the rest of the staff and I believe the community is grateful to have him as our leader. So this is a great award.
And the award is from the organization. It's an award honoring and acknowledging outstanding achievement as a local government management professional in the state of Wisconsin. So Mark is well deserving of that, and to the points that you mentioned.
Congratulations.
Absolutely. All right. The Wisconsin Policy Forum has released a report about collaboration among fire departments in the Fox Valley. It's kind of specific to our area here a little bit. And so we have some neighboring fire departments that have been collaborating. And a lot of this started during the COVID, during the pandemic. But a study was recently done and a report released about this collaboration and about some potential future plans.
Right. As you know, Andy, we're always taking a look at how we do things and what we do. And this report kind of speaks to that, in a little more comprehensive manner. It's designed for folks to evaluate what we're doing, how we're doing it, try to minimize any duplication of services, try to be as efficient and effective as we possibly can, not only for our taxpayers, but also for, and these communities here are interested in the very same thing. So it's a way to make sure that we can collaborate and provide the best service we possibly can.
Right. And we're talking about not only Oshkosh, but Appleton, Grand Chute, Neenah, Menasha, Kaukauna, and here in Oshkosh.
Right, right.
It's
So
really
it's-
quite a group of fire departments.
It is, and it's really full of different ideas for consideration, and as I mentioned, it's improving the quality of service and making sure that we're working together to provide the best service possible to all our citizenries.
And enhancing the quality of service.
Yeah.
And that report will be available on the city's website.
Right.
So people can check that out.
Yep.
Okay, another city service is Go Transit, and they had an event recently to demonstrate their new accessibility technology.
Right.
And this is for people who are in a wheelchair or a scooter,
Yes.
and it will enhance their ability to ride the bus.
Right, right. Transportation Director Collins and his folks just do a great job looking at their services and trying to see how we can make sure that we are focused on implementing processes that can improve access for all of our citizens. And this is really right in that wheelhouse. It's something that I think is a really neat technology. It's something that I think will allow riders in wheelchairs and scooters to board each bus and become secure without additional assistance. And I think that's something that we're trying to think about it from the passenger perspective and their desire to be independent. So I think that's something that it's a very, very good improvement. Not only from the technology perspective, but also from the personal consideration perspective. So I think this is really a very good improvement.
Sure. And I know that drivers are very happy to assist if anybody wishes to have that assistance too.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And the funding from this for this came from the CARES Act. So
Right,
that's
right.
part of where those funds were directed.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. If anybody would like more information about the quantum technology that's been installed in the buses, they can visit the Go Transit website or call Go Transit at 920-232-5340. And they can learn more about that. Okay, and we have a lot coming up in our Parks Department this summer, John.
We do.
We have a lot. We have actually one thing that is a new feature is there's a new gazebo that has recently been built over at Riverside Park, kind of behind the convention center.
Right, yes. I think that'll be a nice addition. We have a gazebo in the Leach Amphitheater, and I think it ties in really well with that, as well as this Riverside Park location. And I think the most important thing with not only this improvement, but also all the activities you mentioned that are going on in parks is, I think summer's finally here.
It's here.
Everybody's been waiting for such a long time, and I think they're really excited to get out in the parks and access this new facility and just access some of the other programming that we have planned.
Sure. And, there are a number of events coming up, including one of them is Brews on the Bay. And initially, Parks started off with that with a few events last summer, and they were very successful.
Right.
And so they expanded it for this year.
Right. I think for people that don't understand what Brews on the Bay is, it's a way to showcase different, craft beers. Oshkosh has a rich history in terms of its beer production, and it provides an opportunity for us to, highlight local craft beers, and then also provide some music and an opportunity for people to not only sample those beers, but then enjoy some music on the water and
food trucks.
And food trucks. I mean, who cannot like that combination?
And there's games for the kids.
Yeah.
So
yes, it's family friendly, and I think it's just it enhances just different options for people when they're accessing our park. This happens to be at Menominee Park, and
sure,
it's really I think a very cool program.
And this kicks off on Wednesday, June 15th, and this will be every other Wednesday throughout the summer.
Right.
But those opposite weeks, on those Tuesdays, there's also a concert series that's happening over at the Leach Amphitheater.
Right, the Tuesday night concert series, that's been in place for a little while, and And it just serves to illustrate, the thought process that's, being implemented by, Parks Director Maurer and Assistant Director Dahlman, and the feedback that they continuously get from the community and what they'd like to have at the parks. And they really do a good job, I think, of utilizing and cross usage of different facilities and different programming. Right today we're just talking about the Leach Amphitheater in Menominee Park, but as you're well aware, Andy, we have activities going on at South Park, at our water park, and different programming activities that take place in all those areas. So they really try to look at this comprehensively and provide all kinds of different opportunities for our citizenry.
And one of those events at South Park is their Food Truck Friday, which is coming up on Friday, June 17th. And that's a big fundraiser for the Oshkosh Senior Center.
It is. And folks may not know, but the Senior Center is also part of our Parks Department. And you're right. Food Truck Friday is something that people look forward to. It's been, beyond, I think, what anyone imagined in terms of attendance. There's music there too. There's awesome food at the food trucks, and we've had community partners, work with us on different sorts of opportunities to receive different raffle awards too.
Okay.
So I think that's part of it. So the community is really participating in all different kinds of ways, not only in the enjoyment of this, but the promotion and support of Oshkosh Parks and also the Oshkosh Senior Center.
And if you would like to find out more about how you can participate in all of these events, please visit the Oshkosh Parks Department Facebook page. They have a lot of details there. And you can also visit the city's website and the Parks Department page on the city's website. And the Parks Department has a full activity guide there that you can either view on the web or you can download it and then print it out. But it's a very comprehensive guide that talks about everything that they have going on. They did a fantastic job with this. So you can check that out.
Right. A lot of stuff going on, almost certainly every week.
Something for everybody.
Right.
Okay, another thing kind of related to parks, maybe a little bit, we have a lot of ash trees that have suffered due to the emerald ash borer. And so a lot of these trees are being removed, and the work is continuing.
It is. In addition to the Senior Center, management of our parks department is also responsible for forestry and our urban forest. And, like other communities, we're battling the emerald ash borer and, how to replace just so many different beautiful trees that we have in our community. So it's at a point now where it's really hit us at full force, and the time associated with tree removal and replacement is really taxing our resources. So that's something that we're fortunate enough to get some external assistance with. We've been able to contract with some folks to help us address this problem. But it's also impacting our ability to do tree planting. I know a lot of people, want to have tree planting not only for replacement of those ash trees that have been removed in their terrace, but also, might have other just specific tree planting that they need to have take place in their terrace.
Sure. So
please be patient with our folks. They're trying to do the best job they possibly can to address your concerns. But the emerald ash borer is really it's been a factor in our ability to operate as in business as usual. So
right. And there have been 4 zones that were identified in the city, and the zone 4, which is the southwest corner over there, has been completed. Zone 3, approximately 60% of the work in zone 3, which is more the south side and a little bit of the west side, 60% of that work has been completed. Zones 1 and 2 will be going out for bid, so those are yet to come.
Right. Those are the the ones that we're going to get additional help with from private contractors. So
Okay, and we are stretched a little thin with our landscape operations staff,
Right.
so that will be a major assistance.
Yep.
So, okay, and I think that's about the time that we have for the first half of the show today. So it's time to take a short break, and please stay with us for some highlights from the upcoming Common Council meeting agenda. We'll be right back.
Oh, it's gonna be great.
I think it goes around.
Let's go. We gotta get you in practice.
And it's set!
And welcome back to the City Manager's Report. I'm Andy Radig, along with Assistant City Manager John Fitzpatrick. Let's turn our attention to the agenda items from the upcoming June 14th Oshkosh Common Council meeting. So John, we have a workshop meeting that begins at 5 p.m. before the 6 p.m. start of the regular meeting. And Council has asked staff to evaluate all of the facilities, and one of those areas is the fire department.
Right. Over the last several years, citizens may have noticed that the council wanted us to take a look at all of our facility needs, and we've done that. We've done studies on a variety of them, and this particular study is really the last one that we have to complete in regard to just different needs and with specifically the fire department. One of the things that's unique in terms of their facility assessment is the location of those stations, the growth of our city, the changing demographics in terms of our employee population as it relates to bathroom facilities, sleeping quarters. We really, it's really something that needed to be done and looked at comprehensively. So those are the topics that this is really going to be able to give some insight into for the council in regard to that particular staffing study, and they'll be talking about that at 5 o'clock.
Okay, and that will be televised and it will be on the radio, so folks can check it out at that time too. Then the regular meeting begins at 6 p.m. There's a proclamation for Pride Month.
There is, and that's something that I think the city has recognized in past years. I think that we were able to light the bridges this last go around, and I think we're happy to do that and recognize Pride Month and support Pride Month in any way that we possibly can.
Okay, and then there's also a presentation. We talked a little bit about facility needs, so there's another presentation at the beginning of this meeting regarding city facilities.
Right, just to carry on from our discussion about that workshop, as we mentioned, the council has asked us to take a look at all of our facilities. So we've done that now that we have the fire study completed, and we've done it in terms of the facilities themselves. We've got a separate component in regard to ADA that we need to address. But in looking at all of the facility needs and all the studies in totality, we've identified approximately about $65 million worth of facility improvements that need to be addressed. And right now, those facilities aren't programmed as a regular course of business in our CIP budget. So what we were going to talk about at the beginning of the council meeting is just the convergence of not only our facility needs, but also our debt limits that we have. I know that Finance Director Van Gompel has spoken to our long-range finance committee about this, and I think they very much appreciate the dialogue associated with facilities and want us to consider how we can address this from a planned approach, the planning part and then also the budgeting part, while also being mindful of our debt load, so it doesn't adversely impact our bond ratings and things like that.
Right.
So that's something that we're going to be talking about at the beginning of this meeting, and I think because I've participated in some of those prep meetings, I really believe Finance Director Van Gompel has done an excellent job, along with John Urban, who works in General Services and manages that division, working with all the departments, gathering all that information, creating some, I think, a presentation that'll be informative and comprehensive and, give the council an idea of, the scope of this issue, and then hopefully they'll feel comfortable, devising a plan to address it.
And evaluating the financing and the whole package.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay. A little bit later in the agenda, we have new ordinances, and there's been some talk around town about the tiny home development. This is kind of a new concept, and so we're looking at approving a zone change for this development.
Right. And it is a very new concept. It's so new that I think Oshkosh is a pilot community for really this, at least in this in our locale of the country. And so to give people an understanding of how this is going to work, the tiny home development is really a component of what's considered to be a continuum of care. And people think about traditional housing, residential units, rental units. We've had a lot of dialogue recently about the day-by-day warming shelter and homelessness, and so there's different levels of housing to address different kinds of population, and the Tiny Homes Project is designed to fill one of those rungs on the ladder of continuum of care, so to speak. And this development is estimated to be about $4.5 million. There'll be 31 individual units, approximately 500 square feet in size.
We're looking at some of the renderings, and here's a sample of what one of them might look like.
Right. I know they're planning not only just those individual units, but also different amenities to support that development, like gardens, gazebos, outdoor playground, sports field, storage, multi-purpose community center, which includes laundry, kitchen, and classrooms. So, and as we mentioned at the outset, I know the developer really wants to do this well and do it right. So we're fortunate to be a pilot.
Sure.
Because this will be kind of a template for other communities. The developer wants this to be very successful. So we will benefit from kind of being on the cutting edge of this type of development, and it'll certainly help our housing needs. And I know we talked about that, and City Manager Roloff, you and City Manager Roloff talked about that with the housing study not too long ago.
That's right.
So yeah, this is very exciting. I think it's very necessary, and I think it'll help us be more comprehensive in our housing stock.
Well, we'll keep an eye on it and show the progress as it develops.
Yes.
Okay. Then we have an item, a pending ordinance. This is relating to the Boys and Girls Club expansion. So there's a lot that's happening over at the Boys and Girls Club.
Right, and this is another exciting project. This is an improvement to the Boys and Girls Club area. I know they've really done a great job over the years and been a great partner for us. Our staff work very closely with the Boys and Girls Club. More specifically, PD does a lot of programming with them, our police department, but not only the police department, but other departments. And it's my understanding that this development's going to be, it's estimated at approximately $17 million.
Okay, we're seeing some renderings.
Yes, they're going to be improving some areas inside the club, updating their maintenance garage. They're going to be adding a gymnasium, improving parking. So this is very exciting, very exciting improvement. And again, it's just another facet of our community that can be improved, and also, provide services to to a variety of folks in our community.
Sure, and a great partner with the city for sure.
Absolutely.
Okay. Under new resolutions, we have several items relating to bonds, and my understanding is that we're trying to once again take advantage of some good interest rates while we're able to.
We are, and these are a variety of bonds for a variety of different purposes. Although interest rates are climbing a little bit, I think it's important to view this from through a historical lens. Mm-hmm. And we're still, although we're not at historically low interest rates, they're still very, very low from a historical perspective. And this is going to, by bonding for these costs, I think there's something upwards of almost $40 million. Mm-hmm. It will serve the citizenry well going forward by securing these bonds at this low rate.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Okay. Then we also have a new resolution approving a commercial quadricycle license. And this might be what some folks have known as a pedal pub.
Right. Yeah, I think we've talked about this at a variety of different times on the show.
Right.
And this is something that'll be new to the city of Oshkosh, but it's not new to other organizations. You see it looks like we have some footage from Door County. It's very popular there. The city of Madison has, I believe, some pedal pubs.
Mm-hmm. Milwaukee.
So, I think because there are a lot of people that love the city of Oshkosh and like to, take a look at the historic buildings and all the different amenities that we have here in our community, I think it's a good match for us. There, just a few specific details. I know there's no alcohol sales on the pedal pub, but they work with different establishments to provide the opportunity for that liquid refreshment on the pub. And then loading and unloading takes place in parking lots. I believe the hours of operation are 10 in the morning till 10:30 at night. And there won't be any operation on trails, sidewalks, or the Riverwalk. And I believe they're looking to begin in July. Mm-hmm. So be on the lookout.
Okay, something new. All right, and then a major item is recommendation for the Jackson-Oregon Street Bridge design. And I know that we have 4 different options that are available out there.
Right. This is something that we talked about quite a bit in the past, and I think you might recall, Andy, when it was initially brought forward from the DOT that this bridge was reaching the end of its useful life. The council and our organization wasn't able to really make a decision because we had so much unclaimed riverfront. And now that that situation has changed, there's been some development. I think the appropriate answer is come into focus more. There's really going to be 4 options: do nothing, rehab the bridge, implement a fixed span, or a drawbridge. Mm-hmm. And there's no cost, obviously, for the first 3 options. If the council decides to put a drawbridge option in there, that's going to cost the city about $25 to $30 million.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and I know that is especially critical considering that they're waiting on a part to get the bridge replaced at this moment.
Right. It certainly illustrates the need for that to be addressed.
Okay, all right. And then we also have an item under future agenda items to discuss the designated outside refreshment area.
Right, I think people have seen the publicity associated with that. We were talking about Door County earlier. I know that Sturgeon Bay is a template community for this, but it's a unique item and a unique consideration for the city of Oshkosh in comparison to the rest of communities in the state. One of the proposed area outlines of the Dora district is somewhat close to our bid district. Mm-hmm. So we'll see how that all shakes out. I know that our staff has been working with the folks who have brought this idea forward, and I hope that we can come to a resolution regarding this soon.
Okay, and we just wanted to make a mention that the budget workshop number 1 will be happening on July 6th at 5 p.m.
Right, that'll focus primarily on the capital improvement program, so look forward to that.
Okay, well, John, thanks for joining us, and we'll be back in 2 weeks with another City Managers Report.